Well, folks, we're back. Back for more. So, continuing on in the vein we had been working on, I've got a few hundred more things to talk to you about. Here's a sobering thought. Man denies being Nazi camp guard. A 100-year-old man is on trial in Berlin.
I have some opinions on that stuff too.
And he is on trial for his alleged role as a Nazi SS guard at a concentration camp during World War II. Told a German court Friday he was innocent. He's being charged with 3,518 counts of accessory to murder at the Sachsenhausen concentration camp near Berlin, where he allegedly worked between 1942 and 1945. Sir.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about this?
He was a guard. He was a conscripted individual.
Yep.
He was told by a Nazi regime, young man, we're making you a guard and we're sending you here. This is what you're going to do. He did not have a choice to say, oh no, I'm not. Oh no, I'm not. And they said, yes, you are. Or else you're going into camp. Your mom and dad are going to camp. Your brothers and sisters are going into camp. And all of you are going to die.
And friends, this man speaks the truth. That is what did happen over there.
Yep. You either followed orders, or they'll take you and your family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I served in Germany for 2 years. I worked with a ton of Germans over there at the camp where I was stationed, post I was stationed, Hohenfels training area, and listened to stories like that. And I remember my friend Helmut Schmidt saying to me, Crane, you never knew who Gestapo was.
That's right.
It could be your brother.
Mm-hmm.
So you could not even tell your brother what you were thinking, because if he didn't turn you in, he would be shot along with you and along with your mother and father.
If somebody else would have found out that your brother didn't turn you in and turned your brother in for not turning you in.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an insidious deal. But here's a guy, you're right, 17, 18, 19 years old, drafted into the service. Of course, they were all Hitler Youth, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And they were all put in the Army or the SS or wherever. So you didn't have a choice. It was go or go to the concentration camp.
That's it.
That's it. Now, when they had the extermination groups, the Einsatzgruppen, their job was to come after the soldiers, the invading forces. They would trail behind them, rounding up Jews and shooting them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had to do that. Now, contrary to public opinion, the commanders didn't like doing that any more than the guys liked doing it. So if someone said, I can't do this anymore, he'd say, okay, we'll transfer you out of here. But there were guys that enjoyed the extra rations and all, and shooting people.
Mm-hmm.
So they just sat there, boom, boom.
Yep. Yeah, there was. And not only the amount of guilt that's involved, which is very controversial. You know, yes, I was a guard there. Yes, 3,200 people died while I was a guard. Yes, by today's standard, I have some negligence. But to take somebody, like you said, 100 years old, just the fact that he's 100 years old, all you're doing is picking the low-hanging fruit right now. You're not doing anything that's going to solve anything. You're not doing anything that's going to help anything. You're just grandstanding for revenge someplace. And that in itself is not right anymore.
This poor guy. Now, I say poor guy.
I know.
But this guy, 100 years old, has lived with what he did.
That's right. That's his own.
For 80 years.
Yep.
How many nightmares has he had?
Oh, yeah.
For 80 years. He's suffered.
And
I think his fair share. I mean, it pales in comparison to taking a life. But nonetheless, he's been punished for 80 years by his conscience, by his entire life.
Yep, it's all a matter of degree too.
Yeah.
It's a matter of where you are in a standing, just like anything else in the world today. Take post World War II, 1945. Okay. Warner von Braun,
Yes.
head of the rocketry program, rocketeer.
Peter Mundi.
Yep. Helped develop the V1, the V2, massive destruction. Destroyed thousands of buildings and hundreds of thousands of people killed because of these rockets. And what did he purposely tried to build these things as accurate and as deadly as possible. On and on and on and on. If he could have come up with one that would have destroyed all of London with one bang, he would have.
Of course he would have.
What happened at the end of that war? We swished, got him out of there quick, and he made him a hero here. He developed our space program. He was the key to our stepping into the NASA,
rocket age.
National
Yeah.
Aeronautics and
Yeah.
Space Administration. He's like one of the founders.
Yeah.
He's a hero now.
Sure.
This poor guard, they want to hang him or whatever they want to do to him.
Yeah, who knows what they want to do, but 100
You
years old.
see the difference in that one?
Yeah.
One's responsible for probably 100 times as many deaths, and purposely doing it to kill as many people as he can. He ends up being a hero. The other guy, he wants to be he's the goat.
Yeah. Well, it's like Klaus Barbie, the butcher of Lyon.
Yeah.
Okay? A horrible person. He enjoyed torturing people and whipping them until they died. Horrible, horrible, horrible man. Guess what we did? Grabbed him because he was intelligent, he knew things, he was ruthless, and we could use him.
Yep.
So they secretly grabbed him, protected him, and used him as a counterintelligence guy against the Russians in Germany.
That's right. It's
Until he finally kind of wore out his welcome and fled. It wasn't for years until they caught up with him again.
Yep.
But the U.S. had intelligence department protected him.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we could use him. And he was as bad a person as came out of World War II.
Oh yeah.
But he was our bad guy then.
I guess that's probably the key right there.
Yeah.
Whose bad guy is he?
That's right. Here's something interesting. Hackers breach FBI email system. The FBI should have the safest internal communications department that man can develop for all the secret work they do. And some 14-year-old kid hacks into it.
You said a lot on that one sentence. And then the key word there is should, but doesn't.
Nope. Nope. Cybersecurity experts said the fact that the email didn't include any malicious attachments could indicate the hackers stumbled across a vulnerability in the FBI portal and didn't have a particular plan to exploit it. What the hell were they doing going into the portal for?
I don't know.
No, I don't understand.
Well, we're not computer
portal
people,
is
Bill
anyway.
nor
No.
I. But I don't quite understand how we can be supposedly so technically advanced. And like Bill said, a 14-year-old kid someplace in
Yeah.
the Ukraine can walk right through our systems. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Now,
FBI,
maybe we're not
of
as
all places.
maybe we're not as sophisticated as we think we are.
I think if this was Groucho Marx, I think the bird would,
Bird would
fly
come
down
down.
with the $100 in his mouth. You
Good.
hit it.
But maybe our education system in IT has to take a look at itself.
But you know what? There's cheaters can always find a way to
Oh, we
cheat.
go around it. Oh, yeah.
And somebody found a way through it. Well, the Washington Post published an article, a earth-shattering report. Falls are a leading cause of elder injury.
You know, I saw that and I was amazed. I said, I never would have guessed in 20 years that elderly are getting injured by falls. What is going on?
I mean, this is a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to save lives now. Good grief. And one out of every 5 causes a serious injury,
Absolutely.
such as a head injury or a broken bone.
You know what it is, Bill? It's that damn gravity again. We gotta do something about gravity. Look what gravity causes. How many injuries and death gravity causes in a year?
Hip fractures, everything.
Skull fractures. It destroys things. It breaks things. It hurts people. Yet we don't do anything about gravity.
I'll tell you, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Now, we are now fallen into a mindset in this country. You have to watch every little stupid thing you say.
Oh, positively.
I mean, it's like, man, if you dropped a seed on the ground, it's like a tree growing up. Can't believe it could grow up that big.
How did we ever get this old?
I don't know.
We should have been so offended so many times that we couldn't live with ourselves. We couldn't live in a society because everything somebody's offended by it.
This is unbelievable. A freshman Republican congresswoman from downstate Illinois apologized Friday for knowingly quoting Adolf Hitler during a rally. Now, outside the U.S. Capitol this week. While discussing the need, by the way, this is a group called Moms for America that she was talking to. While discussing the need for her party to appeal to young people, she said, Hitler was right on one thing. He said, whoever has the youth has the future. Now,
Perfectly
what
right.
is the harm of saying that?
Well, Bill, take it away from Hitler and say Martin Luther King Jr. said that.
Yeah.
Same statement, same meaning, different reaction.
Yeah. Good, bad.
See, that just doesn't stand up.
But the quote, the truth of the matter,
Yep.
they both said the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're getting a little too sensitive.
Yeah, you can't say anything because somebody somewhere is going to be offended.
Yeah.
Whether they really are, I sometimes don't believe they really are offended, but they think they should be offended, and so they make a fuss to be offended.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you can see some of these things. They're so upset, and all you can hear in the background is ka-ching, 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 ka-ching.
Yeah, you get that.
There's some money ideas coming in.
Yeah. In Switzerland, Swiss voters narrowly supported a ban on burqas and other full face coverings in one of the most contentious referendums yet in the country's system of direct democracy. A wafer-thin majority of 51%, those taking part, voted to outlaw full face coverings in public, compared to 49% against. However, burqas and niqabs and veils will still be allowed to be worn in places of worship. What do you think of that?
Well, my idea of coverings, face coverings, would go back to security. If everybody can wear a burqa, and there are people running around all over in burqa, if you want to pull a bank job, you just walk in with your burqa on, whether you're a man or a woman. You pull it, you walk out in the crowd again. What did he look like?
Yeah.
He had a burqa on, or she had a burqa on.
Oh, the guy that came in and gave me a bad check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he look like?
Well, describe him. Well, he was
Burqa.
6'2" and draped in blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're just going to destroy your criminal system.
Exactly.
You can't hide everybody's appearance for some ancillary reason. And this.
All right, let's take it a step further. This full face recognition software that now people, it's a civil rights issue. I don't want them taking my face and putting it into a memory bank, into a computer. That violates my right of privacy. But if a crime was committed, we could go through, a computer could do the search in less than a minute, and if the face was in the memory bank, we could find out who the perpetrator was. That's an invasion of his privacy and shouldn't be allowed.
I don't agree, but you can.
I have a tough time with this because you've got this tiny bit of, I don't know, invasion of your privacy, and over here you got a ton of good that comes from it.
Yeah, but you can't do the good because of this much privacy.
Yeah,
invasion.
exactly. Yeah.
The tail wags the dog in some of these
So,
things.
to carry this now a step further, if I can't use the face recognition software, then you can't go to court and describe my face and say I'm the one that did it.
Violation of your privacy.
That's right.
That's right.
What right did he have to stare at me
And Bill, a lot of people, and I'm sure you and I are included, are already in the memory banks. I know I am because when you go through, even a few years ago, you go to Vegas, everybody that walks through the door is being scanned. And you can't go out, you can't cheat in a casino anymore.
No.
They put your name in a little black book, and your name went around to the casinos.
Sure.
Now you cheat in one casino, every one of them knows it instantly. Your face is in their system. You walk through the door, you sit, well,
Bingo.
you don't even know the camera's on you. And boom, There's somebody, that computer is analyzing every face that comes through and is going through their data banks and say, oh, that guy's a cheater. Nope, and they'll be on you just like that. And you can't wear a mask or put a mustache on or anything else because it measures, I don't know, the distance between the eyes and how big your nose is. And
Everything,
it's very sophisticated. But people that go into places like that don't say, well, I'm not going in there because they're going to take my face. They're going to take a picture of my face.
And Duane, and I'm not positive about this, I don't know. I haven't flown for a long time. But do they use face recognition now before you go on a plane?
I think they do.
Because that would seem to me that there's got to be a no-fly list.
I know they were doing it at the border, the Canadian border.
Okay.
So I suspect that otherwise, because even at the border, they were doing, I used to go several times a month, sometimes back and forth to Canada, and you get in line, you're going across the border there, and it got to the point where I was going there so often, I get up there and I say, hi, Mr. Weiss, how are you today? And I didn't, they knew when I was back in the line from who I was, and I said, well, she said, oh yeah, I know, I got it right here. You live at 68 Pine Street, your wife's name is this. They know everything about me.
They read the license plates too.
Oh yeah, they were doing the license plate, but they had a whole bank of all your personal data already.
Sure, yeah. You know what, I never had any of them say anything to me other than, so where you going?
Yep.
And what you gonna do? Well, listen, good luck.
My thing coming over business, do you have any items in your trunk of the product? And one time she said, you're still carrying just catalogs, no samples, right? Yeah. Because that's always I made sure I took my stuff out, because otherwise sometimes you had to register it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you had to have it when you come back. And
That's right.
It's kind of crazy. It was easier just to dump my trunk out and just take paper.
Yeah. I'd still buy it. We're getting to the point in this country where we're really nitpicking.
I am not afraid
No.
of the country. I don't look right now, and I don't think I'm going to live long enough to change my opinion. But I don't see the country as the enemy. I don't see this as some totalitarian organization that's trying to control everything I do, like these science fiction stories where everybody walks around like a zombie. And I don't see that. Now, it may be 50 years from now, something happens and it changes. I don't know, but I don't see it in my lifetime, and I never felt that it was that way in all these years now. And I always, this is a statement that's not, some people just cringe when I say it, but I always think of, if you're not guilty of something, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
If you want my DNA, have at it.
Yeah.
You want me to rub a swab of my thing and give it to you? I'll give it to you.
Sure. That's the same thing with the face recognition.
Yeah.
You want my mug in your computer, you're welcome to it.
Welcome to it.
Yeah.
I can see if I had some outstanding warrants someplace.
Sure.
And, some of these guys got, $40,000 of back child support they're trying to hide from. Well, then you got a problem. But that's your own personal problem.
Own personal problem.
Yep,
and
you
it
did
has
yourself.
Nothing to do with an invasion of your privacy. You're a criminal.
And the same people that hue and cry over these invasion of privacies, if something happens, that somebody breaks into their house and maybe assaults their wife or their kids or hurts somebody in their family, all of a sudden are the same ones saying, we've got to catch this guy. How come you can't catch him? Yeah. Well, if you would have cooperated before and got some legislation and things going, we probably could have. But all of a sudden, it's different.
Yep. No, I agree with you totally. I get nothing to hide.
He used to say a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged.
Right. And it's true.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. I get this oldie but a goodie here. Joe Biden to Peter Ducey. You're a one-horse pony. supposed to be one trick
pony. That's what I was going to say. A one-horse pony. Of course, you're a one-horse pony.
That was a great, another one of his malaprops. But you know what's scary? Is he actually said this. As I told Barack, if we have some big differences on a philosophical basis, when he got the nomination to be vice president,
Okay.
I'll develop a strange disease and resign. Joe Biden, at a press conference with Vice President Kamala Harris, 12/4/2020. He told that on himself.
Yeah,
And you know
he
what
was never a silver-tongued orator.
No, but you know what
never.
he's doing here? He's setting himself up for 2 years into the presidency, when I've slipped far enough that I'm scaring myself, I'm going to come up with some convoluted story that early onset dementia or something like that, and I've got to bail out.
You give him that much credit? I don't. I
He's
don't think
a
he thinks.
schemer.
I don't think he could think that far ahead.
Los Angeles has over 300 murders so far this year, the highest in 30 years.
Yeah. There's 15 or 18 major cities that got a.
Yeah, 12.
Boston's down, I saw.
Yeah, how about that?
But shootings are up.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
That's right.
They're just damn poor
Damn
shots.
poor shots. This Wall Street Journal. What adults 55 and older want to be remembered for most? In other words, what do 55-year-olds want to be remembered for? From the most to the least.
Okay, I see what you did. Boy,
Yeah,
that's.
it's kind of interesting.
Oh, you got a breakdown.
Yeah,
of what?
I got a breakdown of it.
What would you do? What would you want to be remembered for?
A guy that loved his family and wanted to do the most he could for him.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And I also want to be I was a pleasant, likable individual.
Yeah.
I didn't irritate anybody, which I'm probably not going to be remembered for that.
No, I'm not. 70%. Now, of course, this is going to add up to way more
Yeah,
than
of course,
100%.
of course. There's more than
70%, the memories I've shared with loved ones.
Yeah, good ones.
41%, the quality of my marriage
Yeah,
/ partnership.
yeah, I think that's.
17%, my passions, interests, or hobbies.
See, your passion, interests, and hobbies are usually limited to your passions.
Your sphere.
Yeah, like I said, never
Your
start a
family.
business with your passion.
Yeah.
You might have a passion for fly fishing, and you set this great shop up for fly fishing, and you're living in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
And nobody comes in. You say, well, why aren't they here? Everybody loves fly fishing. You love fly fishing. Not everybody
Yeah,
loves fly
exactly. 11%, the success I've had in my work or career. I think that's probably a little higher than my passions, interests, or hobbies.
fishing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
because
Well,
again, that's how successful you were. Doesn't usually impress a whole lot of other people.
Right, right.
It impresses you and probably your family because you made a lot of money, but everybody else is not that rich old jackass.
Yeah, but I think success is also what you've achieved.
Yep. Oh,
Not
yeah.
necessarily financial.
No, but again, that's
You know, that's part of, I think, your family, 5%, the amount of wealth I've accumulated.
nah, You
I
won't I don't know why you'd want to be remembered for that. That's why it's only 5%. But even 5% I thought would be a kind of a...
think if you changed it to a man's acumen in business, his
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
success in building a company that affected so many lives, like the Bristols that started the Foxborough Company. Well, at one point in time, they had 7,500 people working for the Foxborough Company. That's 700. You now add up the families too, so you're probably talking 25, 30, 35,000 people that you directly affected. I thought this was interesting. Don't necessarily agree with it at all, but
No. Well, some people too, there's a whole bunch of people in there that are private. They don't want to be known for whatever they did.
that's right. Some people want to run under the radar. Don't make a fuss over me. Don't, I'll just go about my business quietly and with my family and leave me alone.
There's an interesting channel. I know you watch it sometimes. Is Bush Fox Business Channel.
I watch that all the time.
There's a series on things that happen in companies and businesses and how they changed. Last night one was on Boeing and the president of Boeing at the time, and how the 747 would have bankrupted them, put them literally out of business if something would have went wrong. Now this guy, and then he said too, he was the hero of the company, but there ain't 10 people that can name his name today. They don't know who he is.
Right, yeah.
They know somebody did something.
Yeah, they know somebody did something. A guy by the name of Boeing started it way back when.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's about it.
him and his crew, the security would kick him out of the warehouse or the factory there in Washington. They'd drive around the corner a couple times, come in the back door, and go back to work. Because they had this 24-month deadline on this jet. They didn't have engines for it, nothing. They took a gamble on it.
Yeah.
You know how they took I want to get off on it. They took a gamble that this president of Boeing and the president of Pan Am were on a fishing trip. And president of Pan Am said, geez, I wish we're so busy at this time in the 60s or 70s when the flight thing was just catching on with everybody wanted to fly and the price came down. And he said, what we need is some bigger aircraft. Well, Boeing guy said, well, how big? He says, 400, 500, 600 people. And the Boeing man said, if I built them, will you buy them? Yeah, I'll give you an order for 25 right now. He committed to 25 of these aircraft. Didn't even exist. They didn't know what they were going to look like, what they were going to do. They didn't have engines that could do it.
No.
But they took a chance, and 25 months later, one flew already. That never been done before, and it kept Boeing just above the line to become a profit company.
Do you know the 747 was an interesting plane?
Oh, absolutely.
Very quiet, very smooth, very comfortable. But once you went the one size bigger, like the Airbus,
Yeah.
that double-decker Airbus,
380.
the 380, yeah, it became uneconomical.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't put it into
That's
a
why
lot
the
of
380,
airports.
380 didn't stay
Yeah.
around very long.
It's discontinued.
Yeah.
Yeah. Airlines are mothballing it. You know,
The 747 had some problems.
Yes.
They showed the test pilot in his first flight. Everything's going along, and all of a sudden he says, it's vibrating. It's shaking like it's going across a bumpy road. He says, I don't think that's right. And one wing was going like this. And
that's interesting. Well, I got the bugs out of it because the one thing I was impressed with the only time I was in a
I only flew
747
once on a 747.
was so quiet and so smooth. But it's interesting that the 380 just, there's no room for it. I mean, there's so many places you can't land the damn thing in, and you can't offload the people.
They were just complaining at Logan.
Yeah.
They put in the ramp system
Yep.
for this double decker, and now there's only one airline flying anymore, and they're only coming in once a week or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Because
Yeah.
Craig and his family took that to Europe or Scandinavia, one of them, that 380.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's amazing, but it's you don't know what you're on.
I don't see. One of the things that amazes me is, why wouldn't that make a decent freighter?
I don't know. That's what they're doing now. I didn't know the 747 been discontinued since 2016. They don't make them except for like the government buying one.
Right.
They're still making them for FedEx and, the freighter people.
Yeah. And it's worked well.
Yeah, they're not really fuel efficient for traffic per passenger.
But what Boeing's got to do is get their act together on the 777.
Yeah.
And that'll be the freighter
Yeah.
of the future. A couple of things that I wrote down. You hear strange things. This one. You're dug in like an Alabama tick.
Done in like an Alabama tick.
Dug in like an Alabama tick.
Oh, dug in, yeah. All right. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And this one. Quiet as a transvestite ghost on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Who the heck thinks this stuff up?
Go on. I know you don't go online much, but
I do.
there's a system. I think it's BuzzFeed has got them. A list of different various lists. Every day it changes. They're pretty good to look. Some of them are funny. And one of them I just saw the other day was sayings that we have in this country that just confuse the hell out of Europeans and people from that.
Vice versa.
Yeah, theirs too.
I was reading. I love British mysteries.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
What bone and why are you picking a bone?
I type those things in and go back and find out how did that originate.
I was thinking of doing that. Yeah.
I like British mysteries, and I'm going to talk about it someday. I'm going to have a program called I've Been Reading. And I'm going to tell you some of the books I've been reading lately, folks. Some really good stuff, and share some information about it, because there's some great stories up the library. And one of them, this guy uses the term tosser.
Tosser.
T-O-S-S-E-R, describing a person. So, is a real tosser.
Tosser, no?
Yeah. So I said, that's it. So I went to the computer, stopped reading, went to the computer, and say, in England, what does being a tosser mean? A very stupid person.
Oh, okay. There's no rhyme or reason why it should mean that.
So they confuse us also.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing there to talk about. What do you got? Anything in your pile of stuff you want to rave about?
What is the motivation behind the vaccine misinformation? Why? Where are these coming from? What's the motivation and what's the payoff? I don't understand that.
Payoff, I don't know. The motivation is there are people. Now, you touched on it earlier, the conspiracy crowd.
Oh, God.
What do you mean by saying it's a nice day, Bill? What are you trying to say? That crowd. And I think it is people that have very negative feelings about certain subjects, and they see ulterior motives behind everything. And we injected a bunch, one of the low points in the our civilization. We injected a bunch of blacks
With syphilis.
men with the syphilis virus, and to see what effect it would have on them and how we could treat syphilis and all that. And I think that there's some of that mindset. Well, a government that could do that could be injecting us with some stupid virus or some mind-bending thing that's going to make us vote Democrat or make us vote Republican or whatever. Some people, now, by the way, I know some rational people. I've got at least 5 or 6 people I know that are rational.
I do too. You're just amazed. You just don't. You're flabbergasted.
But you and I know a couple.
Yeah.
Totally irrational about some of this stuff. And for the life of me, how can a rational person believe some of the nonsense?
Absolute nonsense. And the favorite one, I don't know what's in it. You take an aspirin, you don't know what's in that.
No,
you do a
you're
Tylenol,
absolutely
you don't know what's in
right.
that.
And you buy spaghetti sauce.
You don't know what's in it.
Prince makes it.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell's in it.
Yeah. But all of a sudden, the corona or COVID is different. Or another one, I said, it was developed too fast. This didn't develop fast. They've been 20-some years on this. It's a COVID. This is the 19th strain of COVID. There's been at least 20, 30 of them before this. They're all the same family.
It's a flu family.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
the
come
flu's been
on.
around for...
How many years have we been getting flu shots? So you plug a different strain in it,
Yep.
and you run it through its paces, and you develop a vaccine. It's not exactly rocket science.
It's too dangerous.
You're
No,
dying.
it's more dangerous than getting a bad case of COVID and getting
dying.
on a ventilator and dying.
Yeah,
Jeepers.
I know. It's impossible sometimes
Yep.
to deal with some of these folks. And they see this conspiracy. They see the government.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They see the
Somebody doing
government's
something.
hand in
Yeah.
it. Oh boy. And they retreat to Idaho and
Yeah, oh,
live
yeah.
up there
Yeah.
in this closed community of
But you're right. And people that you would not expect to come up with that rationale.
By the way, I find it very interesting, the people that are packing guns these days.
Oh. I find it kind of scary. I'm not afraid of a gun, but I'm afraid of some people that are packing them or that have them.
I'm surprised, very surprised at some of the people that are packing them.
You might be surprised if you took even in this state. I don't know. Say you and Susie went to see Nutcracker. Maybe 500 people in there, and if they searched every person in there, how many guns you'd find? You might be surprised.
You might be surprised if it's Sunday Mass at St.
Yeah,
Jude's.
that's right. How many people have got a
How
gun
many
with them?
ladies have them in their pocketbooks?
Yep, that's right.
By the way, I believe, this is off the top of my head, folks, it's order of magnitude. I'm not sure on this, but I believe 42% of all purchases of new guns last year
I know where you're
were
going.
done by ladies.
The women. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the biggest single
Yeah,
group is female purchasing.
yep,
Because
Yeah.
we discussed that at
Yeah.
our house.
yeah.
I said, would you like a 38? What? 4. I said, well, I don't know, women want to carry little ones around their back. I don't want anything like that. I don't need anything like that.
Well, you never know when you might need something like
So I
that.
said,
But
well, why don't we buy a SIG 9mm then for me? You don't need one either.
why don't you get an M1?
Yeah.
The top 1% of the richest people in this country account for 1/3 of all charitable giving.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because of the foundations and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's very easily. Another one, not statistics or anything, but just we're talking about stuff in the news. Alex Baldwin
Yep.
and the problem there with the unfortunate death on the set of the what was it, Rust?
The movie, yeah.
Rust, I think it was the
Yeah.
name of the movie. And the excuses and stuff that he's got.
Unbelievable.
The first thing in anybody, even the military, like you, what do they tell you? First thing, never pointed at somebody or anything you don't intend to shoot.
Always assume it's loaded
Yep.
until you clear it yourself.
But he didn't do that. Now he's got a million excuses. Oh, this guy didn't do this and this guy didn't do that. First of all, it wasn't part of a scene. It wasn't where the bad guy comes out and he says, "Oh, I shot the bad." And he's supposed to shoot the bad. He shot a cinema photographer or a camera person
Yeah.
off over here someplace. Well, how did that bullet go from the set round over here to hit somebody? You aimed it at somebody. You pulled back the hammer. You shot it. You didn't check anything yourself.
It's not like a baseball curveball.
No, it's not.
Don't go around like that.
And yet you could sit there and say, "It's not my fault, not my fault. I didn't do it, not my fault." It's interesting to see if they're ever going to do anything, if he's going to be proved a negligence.
I
on
can
it.
tell you right now, we won't. He'll skate.
He'll skate.
He'll pay off the widow
Yep.
or significant other or the family of dogs that the guy has or something, and that'll be that.
And it's funny now too. Our legislature has got what, $2 billion or something that they, and
Or the found money?
Yeah.
$4 billion.
four is it about
I think
$4
it
billion?
is, yeah.
Well, the squabbling is starting.
Oh, it has.
You see the Globe today
Yep.
about the arts wants.
The arts.
Arts wants.
Yeah, the arts.
They had appropriated 135 million, which I was shocked. What? 135 million? They wanted 595 million.
Oh, yeah. Well, we want to make improvements to the Rose Kennedy Free Greenway.
Or there's these little theaters that people
yeah,
nobody ever heard of. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me
And I'm
a
thinking,
break.
even giving them
how about another
135.
soup kitchen to feed the homeless.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Here we got all these problems that all come down to we got, like you were a champion of the homeless problem. We got people that soup kitchens. We got this. We got that. Yet we're squabbling. How many millions or hundreds of millions are we going to give to some little theater that does little productions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have we gone crazy?
Yes, we have. Yeah. And you know what, in the Globe, if you want to know how crazy we've become, read the next time the Boston Symphony Orchestra does a recital, or whatever the hell they do, and read the lady that reviews it about the sounds of this horn and that guitar or that violin, or what this means when the crescendo hits the wall or whatever. And you're saying to yourself, people go to concerts and they're listening for all of this? I mean, how many people does that appeal to? That
10?
half a page in the Globe. I mean, it's 7 people read it?
Yeah, 7. I don't know. I can't get involved.
Oh, I read it just to annoy myself.
Another thing is that Boston magazine
Yeah.
that comes in the Sunday paper. You would think that everybody that gets that Boston Globe are multi-millionaires. They review products. The other day a couple of weeks ago, they had chair stools for your kitchen cabinet, to sit on for breakfast. $1,600 a piece. I mean, who buys that?
You know, the same thing happened in the Wall Street Journal, in that special insert.
Oh,
that's on
our
the
favorite
weekend.
magazine, the J magazine.
Yes,
Oh,
I love that.
Folks, if you've never seen this thing is a hoot to look at. It's a slick magazine. It comes, once a month, I think?
Once a month.
Once a month. It's
It
usually
weighs about 2 pounds.
Yeah, it's about that thick, all on heavy
Glossy paper.
glossy mud paper, I think they call it. And it's full of designer.
Yep.
Well, if you go to the second last page, they refer back to, say, give some prices. I used to do this just to say to Monica, I said, what's that purse worth right there? And she said, oh, I don't know. Knowing these people, maybe $1,000. Try $7,000. A sweater, $12,000. A pair of pants, a skirt could be $30,000.
Designer.
A designer.
Yeah. They had a full page in living section of the Wall Street Journal one day. Whole thing of handbags or tote bags.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Designer tote bag. The cheapest one was like $1,800.
Yeah.
And the most expensive was $10,000 or $12,000. Oh, this one's $4,800. This one's $5,600. This is a Gavinci or whatever the hell it is. It's stuff that women throw crap in and carry it around. It has to be $6,000.
I used to give that magazine to a friend of ours. She's very much into the designer stuff.
Oh boy.
And I always give her a tough time. And she'll say, well, I've heard a few of them. Okay, 5. I've heard of a few. I know I've heard of Gucci, for example. The rest of you, I wouldn't know who they are. But she'll say, well, this is a Gucci. And I'll say, who's that? She'll look at me, what do you mean, who's that? I said, what is that? Get that at Target? No, that's a Gucci bag. Well, what's the difference between a Gucci bag and something that Target's got? Well, you just don't understand. I said, well, it does look well made, but how much is that? She said, well, about $1,400 or $1,200. I said, oh my God. I said, I'm sure I could get that produced for $65. Well, it's a Gucci. I said, so I'll make it a Moochie. So what's the difference? And she just goes crazy over this stuff that you don't understand.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a Gucci bag, one of those tote, like a Carmet thing. It's about this big and about this kind of a round thing. And a strap, a little leather strap broke. $180, just sort of a plain little strap that went back on it. I says, that strap ain't worth more than $2, maybe $3.
Tops.
And you're going to pay $100. You paid $180 for it.
Insane.
We had some friends that had a BMW, and the door latch thingy, that used to have them little things up on the top.
Little plastic
broke.
thing. Oh no.
And his wife went to the dealer, and he charged her $165 for that little thing. The husband was so mad. He said, Grace, we could have went to a junkyard and found one of those for $1. He said,
you could add a machine shop, make one out of stainless steel, for heaven's sakes, for $30. Ay, ay, ay. I like this little story from the Globe. 803 died unbelted in rear seats in 2018. My comment at the bottom, 47,700 died of opioid overdoses in 2017. What's the point? Yeah. What is the point to that?
Well, the point is, and one of our family members that lives with me hated when I used to say this, that nature has a way of eliminating the stupid. And by that, I always meant you see these nature shows and the canoes are on migration and they come to that Zambezi River, it's full of crocodiles. And there's always one idiot that kind of wades out a little bit to look at that, what looks like a log. Bang, he gets eaten. When nature has taken that one out of the gene pool, she's eliminating the stupid ones. The smart ones, they'll live for another years after that, but the dumb ones are going to get culled out. The human race is no different. Nature has a way of eliminating the stupid.
I had a story in here someplace buried about a woman down in Florida. And there was a cocktail party, I guess, out in the backyard. alligator down there on the edge of the lawn.
Yep.
I'm going to get out and see the alligator. Stay away from the damn thing. Why? I'm going down and see him. He's not going to hurt me. And they kept telling her, stay away from it. Well, grabs her by the leg, pulls her into the water, and her last words were something like, "This isn't what I planned on."
Yep.
Under she went. They found her body later that day
I
floating.
rest my case.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Nature's going to win.
I think we have time for one more. I used to love writing my column, especially my silly column.
The boomerang one?
Every once in a while I'd throw in things. So I said, here's what I would envision the next debate to be between Biden and Trump. Question for Trump. Describe how you would field strip an Apple laptop computer in the dark and reassemble it in less than 3 minutes. Question for Biden. What do you like best, a puppy, a kitty, or a bunny? And you know, that's how they handled the debate.
Or then they'd talk about the color green. They never answered questions.
Ted Kennedy used to do that. A couple of times that he actually had opponents and they'd ask him a question, and he was pre-programmed to talk about something else. He'd just talk about something else.
If they don't want to answer it, they'll
Nope.
just answer it. They'll do
That's
the political answer and give it some different something else.
Yep. Well, we are, folks, we're running out of time.
And Christmas is coming. I hope you guys all been good.
That's right, because Santa Claus only takes care of good little boys and girls.
That's right.
And a special call out to our friend Thelma Ravinsky, who has been a little bit under the weather.
But we understand
But
she's home
she's
recuperating.
home.
Good.
And she's doing well. So we'll keep her in our thoughts and prayers and get her back on her feet in no time.
Okay.
So, folks,
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas and a very happy and prosperous New Year to you all. Until next time, goodbye.
Adios.